If you look around the internet at available YouTube videos and stuff like that, you see a lot of people teaching practical bunkai for kata. All sorts of groups are doing this. All sorts of individuals are doing this. And many of these people are also teaching pressure point stuff in conjunction with their bunkai. Some aren't. They're just teaching really good application to kata. But it's at a place right now where somebody who comes into the art and starts learning just assumes it was always this way. You know, this is just how it was. You learn kata and you learn the application to the kata, and the application made sense, and that was how that worked. But that's not actually how that worked, historically speaking. It's just that most people don't remember or know the history. The history is we all learned that you were doing stuff that didn't work. You know, when you did a kata like Pinyan Nidan, or also called Hand Shodan, that you were, opening move, you were blocking a kick, you know, and then you chased after the guy and tried to punch him. And so the applications that were taught didn't make sense, they didn't work, and you had to kind of deal with a cognitive dissonance. Way back in the early 80s, when I first began writing, I would sometimes propose application for kata movements that was different than the traditional ones, but I was still showing the traditional ones, block and then punch, but I'd say it could also be this. And I was part of this sort of beginning, and I was doing that for some years, and then I met Sensei Dillman, and Sensei Dillman was saying, yeah, no, just get rid of all that stuff. There are no blocks in the katas. Everything is a pressure point strike, and he started showing super practical applications. And he did this all over the world. He'd go and he'd train and he'd teach people practical applications that made sense of the kata and actually looked like the kata and explained why the kata was the way it was. And as his student, I started doing that too. I'd go around and teach people, and of course, I would write, you know, just dozens and dozens of articles and say over and over again, showing people how this move in the kata is for this thing. It's totally practical. It's 100% clear and useful, and you use it for a real defense situation. It's not something that doesn't work. So here's what I find really amusing about that, because I do see people often criticizing my teacher, criticizing me, and yet they act like everyone's always known that pressure point techniques are just part of kata, and there are no blocks in kata. It's practical applications. It's like, we've always known this. Well, the truth is you've always known that because that's how you were taught. But the reason you were taught that is because of us. We're the ones who put that out there. We're the ones who help the world understand that kata is practical. And now I see it everywhere. I see it all over Europe. I see it all over the United States. I see it in Asia, you know, Japanese and Okinawan teachers showing practical applications to the katas. There's whole aspects now where tournaments now include a kata section with a whole bunkai piece where 3 people will do kata together and then they'll do bunkai. By the way, that bunkai is not very good. It's bunkai for show. It's not real practical application. It's just for, you know, it's a performance piece, but it's still cool that that's happening. The people are finally thinking that way. So the next time you're working on application to kata, the next time you're looking at practical application, or your teacher is showing you practical application, or you're saying, hey, look, here's a practical application for this move, I'd like you to remember that the only reason you're doing that is because my teacher was telling us there are no blocks in kata. Every move is a practical self-defense technique against this kind of attacks that you would get in the street, in the bar, anywhere you are. People, he would say this to us, people fight the same way today that they did hundreds of years ago. Kata techniques are techniques for defense against the common types of attack. Everyone in the world who is teaching that now is teaching that because of him and his students, because of us, not to put too fine a point on it. I'm Chris Thomas, and these are some reflections from the master class. Thanks for watching. Now, go train.